How's everyone going? Welcome back to another Gaugemaster MTMR Model Railways video. Well, today we're doing, honestly, this wasn't what the video was supposed to be originally, but we're going to be doing a quick look at the Gaugemaster Model Combi. So, yeah, welcome. So to start us off, we're going to actually head back in time to when we unboxed the Combi, and then we'll have a closer look from what it is now, and then we'll go through setup, and yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Not really a review, it's more of an unboxing, but it's also talking about a few things that I've learnt about this, the use of it throughout the last 2 years. Alrighty, so anyhow, I just need to quickly take it out of the package because, as usual, I've chosen not to take it off camera because professionalism, whatever that is. But yeah, so there are, as stated in the introduction, there are 5 different controllers. This is the first of the 5 to be have its own dedicated video. The other 2 of them, which are the controllers which I already have, obviously. Well, they don't have to be done yet, but they will be done eventually. So we're going to be starting off with the Gaugemaster Combi controller, which is a single throttle, single track controller. So it's made by Gaugemaster, which is a very prominent brand for controllers, predominantly DC controllers, from what I realised. This is their, if I'm correct, is this something? Is their Combi AU with, but this one does have a power jack because direct from their website does not actually have a power jack. So this was bought within Australia, of course, from, as you can see, with the price tag on the front. So it's made in the UK, and we've got a bit of background on Gaugemaster itself, which you can pause to take a look on your own. Anyhow, so we're going to take it apart. It looks like it's a sleeve, so it shouldn't be too difficult to get it out. So with this being the first part, we're also going to go through the stuff which basically prepares what all the other videos are going to be partly about. So, well, this is part 2, of course, because part 1 was the introduction. But yeah, so in any case, however I get this out is another problem, but I'm not 100% sure how this box works. Yes, I'm being defeated by a box again. But in any case, so we will be obviously doing like an operational test, ease of use. So in terms of it's wiring it up, which will be part of this video, except at a later time, recorded at later times. So this is our Australian AC adapter. Looks like just a generic AC adapter for 240 volts at a output of 18 volts AC with 1 amp. So and then we have our little model Combi. So it's a really little controller, as you can see. So yeah, should hopefully be a lot better than the Hornby controller, respectively. But yeah, it's really small, so it's nice and handheld. Ergonomics wise, feels like it's, well, it feels like it'll quite an forward and reverse, an actual switch, from what I know, should be switchable during operation as well. Not that you should. So yeah, you get your track LED as well, and your inputs and outputs for again, playing with the focus on the camera, which doesn't usually like to work. I'm hoping that the focus has been working for most of this video, but chances are it hasn't, so I do apologise entirely. Here we go. So that's not too shabby, and we also get our threaded wires, which is obviously, this is for threading. I assume it's for threading to the track, because I wouldn't think that you thread it to anything else. I guess that's really all. I don't think there's really oh, and a screwdriver. So that's what we get inside in the box. So as I said, the next part of the video will be, and of course we have our instruction manual for our standard sort of stuff. So you can just pause the video where you need it. But in any case, so that's pretty much all in terms of the opening for this controller. Next part will be quick setting it up, and then we'll do our operational tests. Alright, let's take a closer look at the model before we go and do some testing on the controller. We are going to be using frame cuts instead of me picking it up, just because it kind of the original take of this was a bit too long. I should also state that part of the reason for acquiring this combi was as at least the first external controller, because not only is this going to be a series where we take a look at other controllers, this is the why I picked this as the first one is I need to step away from your standard controllers that you got in a train set. This means this is an easy system that you can easily connect up wires from any layout to basically plug them in. So that's why I went ahead with this. So farewell to those Hornby controllers that we've been so used to in our older videos. So anyways, Model Combi is a nice small handheld size controller. It fits in a footprint of 100mm by 60mm. So it's nice and capable of being handheld. Very basic on features. You've got a forward, reverse, or left and right, depending which way you want to have your layout set up. A potentiometer, which is your speed control, which steps up in percentages, and your track monitor, which glows brighter as the train speeds up or slows down. You've also got air holes on the top, which allows for heat to come out of the controller. Also, obviously, electrical components do get hot under load. Moving on to the top of the controller, we can see that we have an input, which is a 16/18 volt AC in. Most of them should come with their own transformer, so you should be able to use those transfers that come with it, and those transformers will be a switching voltage of either 240 volts in to 110 volts in. And we have two outputs. We have the track output, which is up to 12 volts DC, and our accessories output of 16 to 18 volts. The 16 to 18 volts are continuous outputs, so the moment that you power it, power will be running through them continuously on an AC voltage, whereas the DC voltage are for the track power and motor power with a maximum ampage of 1 amp. Around the side of the unit we do have a really nice effect, which allows it to grip on a bit easier when you're holding it. Of course, it doesn't really matter if you have it on a table or anything, but it's just nice to have that sort of effect if you do want to use this controller as either handheld or even just being able to hold on to it while it's on the table. The rougher effect does feel really good to hold. Nothing special on the reverse side, just shows do not throw out the rubbish. This is where you can get access into it if you were ever to do repairs. Of course, doing your own repairs will void your warranty on using this controller. Alright, so apologies, it seems like I decided to do this quietly and didn't actually put any voiceovers in the section, so we're going to do a quick voiceover. So I apologise about the fact that we've got the voltages in negative for this one. We're just going to do a quick voltage test to see how it goes with our Phoenix Reproductions, also known as SDS models D3. So we've got the, as we can see, that we've got stepping up the voltage. Again, apologies for the negative voltage. We've actually got the controller going. The wires have been set up in the opposite direction. So we're doing step ups per every percentage based on the controllers. The percentages for the controller will be put on screen. Alright, so now that I've used it for about 4 or so on years, let's have a chat about some of the good and bad of using the Gaugemaster Model Combi. First things first is obviously its form factor. It's a very, very nice small controller. It is handheldable, assuming that of course you've got your wires locked in correctly. I don't really have that sort of situation, so but the size of it's still pretty good. It's got the rough texture on the side that allows you to grip onto it a little bit easier, even when you're holding it from the top rather than from underneath. It's got a neutral position. It's always great to have a neutral position because that acts as like an off position. Because obviously with some controllers I've also used, there is no off position sometimes, especially at the backman controllers where you have to click it to go on. Those don't have a central position, so definitely good to have a center position. The Combi also feels like it has a lot of power. It's able to push out quite a bit of power to push the locomotives. Doesn't feel any constraint, doesn't feel like there's much power drop between each engine you put on. It does have a limit though, about 3 to 4 locomotives under continuous loading. It will start to have a few issues, especially when the resistors kick in. It does seem to drop in power, which will go into our more issues I've had with it. It does draw quite a bit of power when doing a lot of running. You can also tell this by the whole unit just heating up for whatever reason. Like it physically heats up, and you can feel the heat coming out of the 3 holes that you see on the top right hand corner. When there's a voltage drop, the voltage drops from its whatever it is by approximately a quarter. Only when the resistor is beyond approximately 20%. To rectify this issue, it's purely just to switch it off and let it cool down for a bit, and also obviously remove the locomotive, when you're running too many locomotives, you allow the controller to basically cool down, so it seems like it's an overheat protection. Short circuit protection in this, there really isn't much of one. There is a short circuit protection. It automatically shuts off the controller, and when the short circuit is removed, it automatically switches back on again. Not sure if it's a good short circuit protector, because obviously that just means it's just an auto shutdown. There's no possible way for it to actually short out and reset the protector. Something like what the Kato controllers use.
One other thing that comes with this controller obviously is the lacking of a PWM. PWM is a pulse width modulator, if I recall off the top of my head. I'll put the name up on the screen if I got that wrong, but basically it's in most people's heads it's what you hear on the Hornby controllers with that weird little buzzy noises that's short when you're at lower voltage, actually throughout the whole voltage span. These days most controllers are fitted with a PWM, so it's very hard to find a controller that doesn't have a PWM. PWM-less controllers are honestly better for your older locomotives. They cause less damage to those, but it also means that your lower speed control is a bit all over the place. PWM controllers don't cause problems specifically for motors unless the PWM controller hasn't been set up correctly. Which in this case, yes, it seems like the Hornby ones may be a bit iffy, but this lacks a PWM controller, so which is pretty cool to have. But of course, it's something a bit older to expect to see these days. You don't really have controllers which have which lack the PWM controllers unless you're primarily building ones yourself. So that's pretty cool indeed. But other than that, there's not really more I can say on it. It's been a pretty decent controller, so we'll hand it off for our conclusion, and maybe you'll see a bit more running as well. But we'll hand it off to our conclusion, and our final closing thoughts of this unit. Alrighty, well, there we go. This is our little look on the, if I can even get into the frame, Gaugemaster Combi AU model. It's technically just the Gaugemaster Combi, but with the AU plug, obviously. It's very hard for me to leave it in screen, so... what do we think? It's not too bad of a controller. It's definitely not the first video on the Combi. It's a very prominent controller that's around, but that is how it'll look on the controller. All thoughts are my own, based on the use of the controller over the last so on years. I have been using it for a little while, and have been obviously comparing it with other such controllers that people may or may not know of. Main ones obviously being things like for the N gauge we use a Kato SX/S controller. So overall works pretty well, as you can see. These models specifically are rather noisy compared to most of the other ones. I've lost focus again, but yeah. So what does everyone think? Will I look into a newer DC controller? Probably one day. There's always something probably better. Most controllers these days, after all, do have a few more modern things inside it. For example, like a working PWM and so on. These controllers are resistor based, don't have a PWM, so which at least means straight current to the models. Other than that, let's start the conversation in the comments below. What do you guys think of the Gaugemaster Combi? What controllers do you think I should be trying out next? Obviously you have to remember that in Australia it's a bit hard to acquire a lot of the controllers that seem to be around, especially out in the States. We will be back to have a look at some other controllers in the future. But until then, thank you for watching. We'll catch you all next time.